Hi everyone, this is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop. I've designed 3 new tarot decks. Okay, so this one is called the White Acid Trip deck. This is a full tarot deck with every card is illustrated, so the pip cards are all illustrated. And I wanted to make it a little bit like, kind of like an acid trip. So I wanted to make it look very psychedelic sort of thing. Okay, but I also wanted the white vibe, even the back of the cards are white. I was kind of inspired by just having a lot of white energy in there. Okay. Another one that I made as well is the, I love this one as well. This one's really easy to read with, I'm finding. This one is called the Cartoon Tarot. And this one, the pip cards are not illustrated. They just have the symbols. If you're into Marseille rather than the Rider-Waite, these would be great. And I like them because they're very simple. I designed them on purpose to be very, very minimal. I tend to like minimal cards. In fact, in general, my cards are minimal when I design. Like, I don't like cards with heaps and heaps of artwork, like bombarding you, you know? I just feel like I like sort of white spaces or blank spaces, like this one as well, similar. You know, I tend to like cards that are, you know, reduced rather than like overcrowded. Even when I design Lenormand cards, I tend to also like the minimal look, you know. So again, if even the Sun card, it's quite minimal. Okay. Yeah, so I tend to like that, and I think the Cartoon deck, you know, came up quite nice because of that. And then the major cards are kind of the cartoon style, like I said. So the kind of cute. I suppose they're good for young people too. But and then the knights and the court cards. Are kind of like a playing card style. Okay, so that's like that's kind of like one of the ones that just came back from the printer about 3 or 4 days ago. So those turned out really well. So when I design a card deck, usually what I do is I often order a deck for myself first before I sell it, because I want to see what it looks like. You know, sometimes when you design cards and you send them off to the printer, sometimes colors are not exactly what you wanted. So sometimes it might be a little bit lighter than what you thought it would look like, or darker, or something like that. So when I design, I often get the first deck. Not always, because sometimes people are like back ordering, so I just have to send it to print and sell it. But in this case, I had to wait a few weeks for them to be sent to me first. And then the last deck that I made is the Egyptian Pastel deck, which is this one. Again, I went with the minimal, you know, I went with a lot of white. These 3 decks that I made in particular all have a lot of space, okay? I was very much into a minimal zone when I was designing these three, and these happen to all be designed within about a week of each other, by the way. So I was kind of like in a designing creative frenzy a few weeks back. This one came out quite nice as well. I really like it too. Yeah, so they're the three decks. This is the Egyptian one, and it's quite cute. This one, the pip cards are again the Marseille style. So the wands or the rods, they're not the illustrated type. And then you got the pentacles, very simple. Sometimes it's nice to change, and then you've got the majors in their normal, full. Illustration. Sometimes I find with me, I do tend to like the Rider-Waite style. For reading clients, because each card is pictured. But sometimes I like to use the Marseille, where the pips are not pictured, where they're not illustrated. They're just wands or swords or cups or coins. Sometimes it's nice to flip from one to the other. And when I do read the Marseille style, I do overlap the Rider-Waite meanings, but I also read the card on its own. Like, for example, like if it was the Four Swords, sometimes I would kind of link it back to the Rider-Waite. But often I would just read it as, the sword is a negative. Usually it's a negative card in, say, a love question, and 4 represents sort of stagnation, right? So, I would also add that layer of meaning as well, okay? In this pip cards, do you use Rider-Waite and the Tarot de Marseille symbolism? I try to, when it's a Tarot Marseille style like this, I can't help adding the Rider-Waite meaning on top, because I've used Rider-Waite for so many years. I kind of, I think if you're used to reading Rider-Waite, that tends to be what happens. It happens to me as well with playing cards. When I'm reading playing cards, sometimes I do overlay the Rider-Waite meaning, which you shouldn't, because it's not quite the same, but I tend to do it just by habit. So yeah, when I read the normal playing cards, I tend to do it a little bit too. But then I also just look at them, like for example, the 6 of Hearts. I look whether it's reversed. Like if it's upright, there's 4 hearts that are upright and 2 upside down. And then if it's reversed, then it's more on the unhappy side, because all the 4 hearts are upside down. So it just depends. I think it's very hard to not read them like Rider-Waite, even if they're not Rider-Waite, because that's kind of the one that I'm just used to working with. But in the group, in the tarot group, I have been using the Tarot de Marseille style. You might have seen my posts, and I tend to read them slightly different to the Rider-Waite. I tend to just look at them more like elements and numbers as well.